All right, hello. Yes. All right, I think we got Kate still.
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Spencer. It's great to meet you guys.
You as well.
Well, thank you for setting up this call to connect us all. If you could just kind of fill me in on where you guys are at with what Attila has told you so far with what I'm looking to do for the property.
So they know that you into the property. They know that you're going to take over the mortgage payments and make an arrangement of the difference in between the cash difference of what they ask and the commission, that the closing costs. So I'm going to leave the rest to you to explain yourself and what you want to do exactly, and then if there's any questions, they can ask.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so said, guys, I'm very interested in the property. I actually live nearby right now by the Biltmore, and actually go to the Salvador Tennis Park all the time to play pickleball. I don't know if you guys have gone there before, but super close nearby. And so I saw that you guys had just purchased this property a few months ago last year. It kind of filled me in, said that you guys were planning on doing a renovation to it, maybe living in it or selling it. He did send me over the plans. I got to take a look at all that. It looked really great. I liked what you guys had going on, the moving the kitchen and reopening up the rooms, installing a master and whatnot. But what I'm looking to do with the property is there's two different things, right? So as is with current interest rates and with the market where it is, obviously it becomes very difficult to purchase a property like this. You know, when you guys were buying it at 1.35 at, whatever interest rate it is, compared to, 1.45 at 6.5, maybe even 7 when the Fed raises the interest rates by another probably 50 at their next meeting. And so what I had very briefly talked about was a type of transaction where I would come in and purchase the property subject to the remaining debt. So I don't know how much you guys owe still outstanding. I assume it's quite a bit, or the monthly payment or any of that stuff, but we can get into that later. I'll just kind of tell you how the transaction would work. So instead of me going to the bank and paying them, 25% down, paying that 1% origination fee, paying closing costs for the mortgage on top of that, it would be a lot easier and a lot more beneficial for both you guys and me if I could just come in and take over the debt that you guys already have in place. So how we would do that is just with your normal Florida Association of Realtors purchase and sale agreement. We would have the purchase price be whatever's outstanding on the mortgage, plus, if there's anything else on top of that we agree on. And then in one of the clauses, we would list that the property was being purchased subject to the remaining debt. So what that means is that the deed would be transferred, but the mortgage would remain in your name. Now, I know Attila mentioned that you guys had some other things some other investments you were looking to make or something. I'm not exactly sure, but once I take over those payments, that debt will be qualified as being serviced in the first year. So 75% of that debt from your debt to income ratio will be wiped immediately. And then after sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year. It just depends on who you're looking to get your next credit from. The 100% of that debt will be wiped. So even though the mortgage is in your name, the debt won't hit your DTI. Now, on top of that, with that purchase and sale agreement, we will also use a promissory note as well as a deed of trust to secure your interest in the property. So the promissory note will say, blah, 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 Spencer Allen promises to pay this amount every month to this. In the case of, let's say, 3 months of default, the property immediately gets redeeded back to Scott without having to go through the foreclosure process. And that promissory note will be secured with the deed of trust, which was what would be transferred if there was a default, right? Obviously, I don't plan on defaulting, but let's just say in the event that I would, then you guys would get the house back plus whatever down payment we made, plus I would have been paying down the mortgage during that time period. So
Question, what are you wanting to do with the property, Spencer?
So I'm thinking two different things, and I would actually like your opinion on this as well, seeing as you guys, we're looking to do a rehab on it. To me, it looks like I would be able to put students in the property as is, put a little bit of furniture in there, and then rent it out my room. So for the cash flow strategy, that's what I'm thinking. I know I can make that work, but on the flip side, I also like the rehab option. And on that note, I mean, if you guys could fill me in a little bit just on your plans and, if you're comfortable with it, telling me why you guys decided not to go forward with it, that would be super helpful for me.
Yeah, so we love the property and we wanted it to be our forever home. But after we got some quotes back with refurbished or like rehabbing it the way that we wanted to, it was a lot higher than we originally thought. And then last year, our son started having some medical issues, and it just felt like too much of a project right now. And so we decided we're actually renting a house across the street because we love the neighborhood so much.
Mm-hmm.
And just wanted to get ourselves free to not be stressing out over that with this other thing that we have going on in our lives.
Okay, I see. Well, I'm sorry to hear that your son had some medical issues. Are things better?
He's okay, but it's just we felt like our priorities need to be focused somewhere else. So we love the property. It's a really great property. But yeah, I think there are a couple different things that you could do with it. You could probably get someone in right away. I would imagine that you need to think about windows and like electricity a little bit. But there were people living in it when we bought it last year, so that would be something that you could decide how you wanted to handle that. And then there's like a medium type of remodeling that could be done to make it so that it might be a little more modern. And then there's the whole thing that we had planned for our future home. So I think there are quite a few different ways you could go with it.
Yeah, I would. And if I was going to put tenants in there as well, I would probably take, notes from your plan and do that dining room to bedroom conversion. And that would probably be, pretty much all I do, is just considering, the fact that I'd be putting students in there. So I wouldn't have to make it that nice. It would just give me another bedroom to give me more cash flow to be able to cover that mortgage payment. But I actually have a question for you. If this was, something that you guys were hoping to be your forever home, have you considered just renting it out for the next, few years, and then when the time comes, stepping in and doing that rehab that you intended on doing?
Yeah, I think we had actually considered that. It's just a matter of like we're wanting to simplify our lives right now, so that we can focus elsewhere. And I think just dealing like right now with doing that, I think it would be a bit much for us.
Yeah, messing with tenants and everything. And
yeah, have you done this with another property?
So I've done a lot of cash transactions. I've only done one of these subject to transactions before, but that one was actually a subject to and a seller finance transaction combined. So it was a little bit more complicated. Had another layer of contracts involved, but it's not that complicated. It sounds like a lot because it's not something that's taught by in schools, or like, let's say the bank's not going to tell you about it, right? Because the bank doesn't want you to do it because they're not making money on it. But it really is more of just like, an agreement between you guys and I, where, there's whatever the reason is, seeing that you guys want to simplify your life. You want to sell the property, just given the current market conditions, interest rates, and the fact that home values have been trending downward, it becomes difficult to sell, because you guys bought it recently. And this is just another one of those tools or a way that, real estate investors can use to get into these properties and solve some problems.
Yeah, I actually heard about this from a colleague recently, and so I was really interested about it. I just have two more questions, and I'll let Scott ask you whatever he wants. But I'm curious about how it works. What you're saying? Would there be like a balloon payment down the road, or how it works with the bank? Like, would it be actually transfer the loan to you? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't understand the whole. It wouldn't impact our.
The debt thing, yeah. So that's why I was talking about the debt to income ratio. So the mortgage would stay in your name, right? Because you guys are the ones who got the mortgage.
Okay.
If I was going to try and
For the full term.
for the full term, I mean, we could, if you guys aren't comfortable with that. Now we could set up some type of agreement where I only am taking over these payments for X amount of years, and then when rates go down, I refinance out of it and clear that debt 100%. But like I was saying, once we show that that note is being serviced, which just means it's not being paid by you guys, 75% of that DTI will be wiped right away. And then between 6 months and a year later, 100% of that will be removed. It's kind of like if you guys just bought it as a rental property. I don't know if you guys have any real estate investments apart, but if you buy a property as a rental and it's being paid, it gets wiped from the DTI.
No, I totally get it. And then my other question would be, sorry, I just lost it.
Yeah.
What would so if you got someone in there and something were to happen to the house, then we're also responsible for that, right?
Well, we would transfer the deed, so I would own the house. The only attachment you guys would have to it is the debt. But like I said, we would also secure you guys in the property with a promissory note and a deed of trust, so that it's not just like, hey, I have all this debt and nothing, I'm not secured with an asset worth that equal value.
And you would give us the equity in the house up front.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you guys owe on your left on the loan. I don't know the PTI or anything. These are all things that we would have to work out. What I really just talked about was if this type of transaction was possible, because like I said, I saw when it was purchased and everything, and he kind of told me what was going on. I was like, this seems like this could really be a way to get this deal done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I monopolized. Go ahead, guys. What do you got?
Do you have any questions?
No, I guess the only thing I was
I think what we need to do is this. I think it will be best, Spencer, if you can send us an email with your proposal, and we should talk this with our attorney to see how we can structure this.
Okay, yeah. I'm more than happy to talk to your attorney. If you want me to just call him, I can talk to him too and work it out with him. So that's less work on your guys' end. But for me to get something in writing to send over to or to work with it to get in front of you guys, all I would need is sorry, let me just pull this. I wrote this down before. All I would need is the mortgage information. So how much is remaining, what type is it, what's the rate on it, and then what's the PITI.
Okay.
And then once I can get that, I can, write up an offer, work with Attila to figure out the numbers on everything, talk to your attorney. And if this is something that you guys want to go forward with, then I'd be super happy to, do it.
All right. Really interesting way to look at it. Yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, question on the promissory note. So the promissory note is just a note that would then transfer the deed back to us if you were for a default, right? Right. It's just going to make sure that you guys are protected. Is there any other securities involved? So, for instance, we rent it out to a bunch of college kids, the house gets destroyed. You're like, I all I gotta do is just not make payments on here. I'll deed the house back over to them. I'm away from the thing, and like no big deal, right? And
Mhm.
so what is there any protection or security against something, like that, or you start a renovation and you're gonna do a small renovation or something, and goes through and something goes wrong, and there's like, you know what, it's gonna be more than I expected, so I'm just not gonna make these payments. I'm just gonna deed it back over. Like, what security do we have from that, or what it would be put in? I guess you would have paid us. We'll have to look at what you would have paid us, like the down payment,
Right. Yeah. So
those kind of things, right?
yeah. So I mean, first off, obviously, I want the property, right? So I'm not going to go in there and destroy it. Right. But for additional security with what you're talking about, yeah, exactly what you were saying. When if we have a down payment on it, well, then you guys keep the down payment. That would be your security then. Of renovations being done to the property. Like I said, if I'm gonna go, let's say I update the bathrooms and I add that extra bedroom in the dining room, well, then that just increased the value of the property. So when you guys get it back, it'll be worth more than it was before. Apart from that, I mean, is there something that you had in mind for, security
No,
on top? And I mean, of course, there'll be insurance on it too. And oh, that actually, that'll be good.
It's more understandable.
So also there's two ways to go about insurance. So when we close on the property originally, I will leave the policy in your guys' name and just have myself listed as an additional payee until I can have that policy matched. I'll just have, pretty much verbatim, I'll have that match so that, the bank will accept that new policy. And then on that new policy, you guys will be listed as the additional payee. So I guess that would be a second layer of security as far as like damage to the property goes.
Got it. Yeah, that's an interesting proposition. We actually the house that we're staying in now has 2 college students in the garage.
How is that?
What's that?
How is that going?
Oh, they're amazing. They're the sweetest people. Yeah, no, it's great.
It's awesome.
I think it's very interesting. It's something that's, like I said, we've heard about it, and I was like, hey, let's look at this pop up at the right time just after we heard about it. So I think it makes sense for us to get to that information about our mortgage, so we can see if it's important going to that next step.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your guys' time. And I look forward to getting that info and, trying to work something out here.
Of course. Great to meet you, Spencer. Let us know if you have any other questions.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks.
All right. So that went well, and I'm going to follow up with a hey, thanks for setting that call up. I just wanted to follow back up and kind of go over the next steps here. So did Scott already get that financial information for you, or is that something they're going to do right now?
I want them to feel comfortable about this before releasing that information to you. So I'm going to have a conversation with them.
Okay.
They are already copied on the email that I sent you, so they have your email information. They can just reply to that email and send you that information. Let me find out how they feel about this whole deal.
Okay.
And if we're going to move forward, they can give you that information, and then you can make your offer, and then we can talk about this offer with the attorney, and then continue the conversation on how we're going to move forward with this process.
Sounds good. Awesome. And also, if they want me to hop on the phone and try and connect with the attorney before, I'm more than happy to get that done as well.
Sure. Not a problem.
All right, thanks.
All right, no problem.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. So I don't know if they're super into it. It's interesting because that was supposed to be their forever home. And they literally live across the street right now. They're renting across the street right now, which, that it's a little interesting. I'm going to pull up and be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm a student. Maybe it would have been better to just tell them that up front in full transparency. But I think it was better to, give them the impression that I know what I'm doing, that I'm a sophisticated investor beforehand. Now we're going to wait, like I said, to get the financial information. Then I'll write up an offer. Hopefully they don't plan on having all their equity cashed out. I just don't think there's any way that's going to happen. The market has only gone down since they bought that property. So we will, I'll keep you guys up to date. Bye.